back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. And this time we've got Dragana Trifković. Dragana, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you very much for invitation. I'm fine.
Excellent. For those that don't know, Dragana Trifković is from Serbia, and she heads geopolitical NGO institute type of thing. Dragana, why don't you tell us about it while I put your CV up, or your Wikipedia page, I should say, up in the background.
I lead the Center for Geostrategic Studies here in Serbia. Already almost 10 years. Next year it will be 10 years of how we are working. So this is my main occupation. In the past I was also involved in the political parties, but I think already 2 or 3 years I'm not interested anymore in this internal policy. So I'm only interested in geopolitics and this international relations, and this is my basic job. I'm traveling a lot, visiting international conferences and also conflict zones, since that I'm interested in basically in the military topics and conflict zones.
And when you say you're visiting conflict zones, we're going to discuss where you've been. You've been to Donbass from way back in 2014. You've also
Yes.
participated in the referendum, I believe. When was that?
The elections were in 2014, in the November in the Lugansk. I observed the elections in that time. And after this, it was my first time visiting Donbass. After this, I was a lot of times there in Lugansk and in the Donetsk as well. And not only observing the situation, but also I was interested to find out what is happening, and so I did a lot of interviews with the people there and also with the soldiers, with the volunteers, to be involved in. I mean, to get know what is really happening, because if you don't speak with the people there, you cannot have complete picture, because in the medias you can find a lot of disinformations about what is going there.
Like I told you, because it's your first time here, this is a comedy show. The subscribers already know. So what you're telling me is that you went to find some Russian propaganda. Like, the subscribers here already know that everybody who has any idea about the truth is obviously a Russian propagandist, and that Russia was unprovoked with the special military operation. By the way, I just wanted to commend you on air. The other day I watched in Serbian, you were a guest on this TV show, and there was this other woman who was analyst on the panel across your opinion, who kept calling Russia's invasion of Ukraine and aggression and stuff. And I just wanted to commend you for your patience. I couldn't watch even the whole thing in one go. It was painful to watch, basically. So tell us what you saw in Lugansk and Donetsk in 2014. You went there to witness. Because I went there in November of last year, and I saw, well, I didn't go to Lugansk, but I did go to Donetsk, and I saw, the history and how it's alive, and how the people there are still dealing with actual Nazis that are indiscriminately shelling civilians. Was it the same all the way back in 2014? And how do you think the conflict has changed or escalated throughout the Minsk process?
I didn't understand you well. You were in last year, so you speak
Yeah.
with people how they are dealing with problems there with Ukrainian army.
Yeah. So like
Mhm.
how do you compare, like, because I know you went last year as well, but sometime
Yes.
the middle of last year, I think. So how do you compare like what the people are dealing with now with what the people were dealing with in 2014? Because you've been there long ago.
Yes. In the 2014, the situation is was bad as well. In the I think July, this that summer there were very hard fightings between the Ukrainian army and these people from Donbass or um, volunteers who were there as well. So this is we are just we can see these pictures from 2014. This was the school at one picture. This is the trade center. So they also hit a lot of civilian infrastructure and objects like schools and kindergartens with the rockets in that time. This is the one small village near the Lugansk. Literally every house was destroyed there in this region, in this village. It was like front line before. And near here was also, I mean, here is airport. There was a battle at the airport as well in 2014. So the situation was also bad. And now what has been changed, I think they are using drones, more drones now. And they are also hitting the civilian infrastructure as well. We can see some of the weapons here from that time. This is also the one building in the center of Lugansk, and these are Serbia volunteers from 2014 at the school. So the situation now is also hard, but now the difference is that I think they have more hope that they will be protected in the future, because in 2014 uh, they uh, they didn't were recognized. They didn't have this openly help from Russian side like now. So I will say this is the difference, and difference also this people which they experienced for these 10 years, a lot of pain, a lot of very difficult situations. I think they are now prepared for the fight for their own better future. I will say like this. And maybe in some other parts of Russia, the situation is not similar because the people didn't have this kind of experience to be on the front line and to be hit by rockets. So the people in the Donetsk and the Lugansk, they are now on the one side happy because they are under protection of Russian Federation, and they have a hope.
Excellent. I wanted to get into the more because you said you got into the geopolitics more than the, let's say, local politics here in Serbia. Um, with your Center for Geostrategic Studies, you were a guest at the UN. I'm going to play some video of that in the background. And this happened a year ago, more or less. Can you tell us why you were there and what you were talking about, maybe?
Yes, it was August 8th, I think, last year. It was it was the meeting about the weapons, deploying the weapons to Ukraine. And I was giving a speech about the our experience in the Yugoslav wars. In that time, also these Western countries, Western powers supplied Bosnians, Muslims in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and people army in Croatia as well with the weapons. Not only the weapons, they trained also their armies. The military companies, private military companies from US, like Academy or Blackwaters and so on, help them with making plans and so on. So I compared this time from Yugoslav wars and this what is happening now with Ukraine. They are also supplying Ukraine with a lot of weapons, and they are literally waging a war with Russia through Ukraine. I think this is, we can say this is the true. So I speak about this, comparing these two situations, and I appeal that it's necessary to stop creating this kind of wars like in Yugoslavia, trying to support the differences between people, either religion differences or ethnic differences or any differences, to support this and to develop the conflicts on the base of these differences. That is what is happening in Ukraine as well. So I speak about these problems, and also I speak about my experience, what I saw there in Donbass, a lot of different weapons from NATO countries, and also the cluster bombs and forbidden weapons. They use this kind of weapons also in the Yugoslav war, in the bombing of Serbia. We know this, they bombed the Niš, for example, with cluster bombs and so on. So this is, I think, the same story that we have already 30 or 40 years, that Western powers, NATO, are bombing some independent countries and trying to save them. So this
To
is
liberate them. Yeah,
yes,
it's that trope of let us bomb you and then you can become our friends. We just discussed that recently with
yeah,
Drago in
yeah,
one of our recent talks. Um, and
exactly.
and it's the same thing that they're doing in Vietnam and they're trying to do in Afghanistan and they're trying to do here with Mr. Hill, who votes in Florida. But yeah, lots of hypocrisy. That's why this is a comedy channel, because you can't, like at some point you just have to like start laughing at everything that's going on in the world. I want to
Yeah.
draw attention to your upcoming film that you mentioned is going to be coming out later this month, you said?
Yes, I hope so. We are finishing this film. It's not depend on me because these people are now working on these technical things, and I cannot push this because I hope that they will finish till the end of this month. And this is my film about the Donbass. So I collect my evidences, and I speak about my experience and other colleagues from Serbia who also visited this war zone,
Mm-hmm.
like Dejan Beric, who is very well known, our volunteer, and for example, Tatjana Stojanovic, she is our journalist, Serbian, but she is working in Moscow, I think already 18 years, and Ljubomir Stefanovic, who also visited recently, I think last year, visited Donbass, and also Professor Dejan Mirovic. He was there a few times. He is the professor of international law, so he analyzed the situation from this position, like professor of international law. And other people also said a story about their experience, what they saw there in Donbass, what are their opinions. So I think it will be interesting.
When I looked up your CV, I noticed that you're an engineer. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So even Martianov would probably condone your opinion because he thinks anybody who did geopolitics or like politics as a major is not worth talking to, but engineers actually did science, so they can talk about anything. So it's good. You're an engineer. You can talk about anything. Um,
Yes, there is some kind of conflict between people who are, for example, experts in politics. I mean, they have education in the politics and maybe other similar fields, and between other people. But I will say that there are a lot of very good and smart engineers who are, for example, Paul Craig Roberts from US. He has also he finished technical science. He's expert also in technical science. So there are a lot of differences between the way of thinking between engineers and the people from political science, because yes, because engineering is a really precise job, and the people are talking directly, trying to how to say, trying to represent the real situation with very good words. And I think it's necessary to have engineers involved in the geopolitics, in politics as well, like doctors, because I think engineers are very good educated people.
I agree. There's a different approach, and like their mind and their logic is structured differently, which can lead to different solutions and different perspectives, at least. Um, Considering this is a comedy show, I just want to ask you, what do you think about the Wunderwaffe idea that like some weapon will be given to Ukraine that will turn the war, and how it's been changing? They've gotten through all these Wunderwaffe, and not much has changed. What do you think about this idea of the Wunderwaffe?
Yes, they are supplying the Ukraine with a lot of different weapons, but I think why they don't have too much success, because it is necessary to have a very good training for soldiers, because now, for example, there are a lot of new weapons that they are very complicating, like new drones as well. They're not easy. And also, it's not possible to for example, soldier to know everything about different systems, to use, for example, Javelin and Iskander as well, and I don't know, to drive the Abrams or different leopards or different models, because it's necessary to be very well trained for a specific weapons. So, as I heard from some Russian sources, they find out that some soldiers literally Googled how to use Javelin, for example.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember there's even screenshots of like dead Ukrainians' phones with like Google
Yeah.
how to javelin. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're
So
right.
this
You're
is
right.
the problem, I think, especially for planes, for example, they want to give F-17, but it's
F-16.
necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
F-16, yes, sorry,
Yeah.
thank you. But it's necessary to have very good training before this, because you need pilots who can know how they can use these planes, and how they can. So this is I think the problem. That is why they don't have too much success, and for sure it's. When you have a good standard in some army, it means that the army is based on some specific weapon, not all weapons, not weapons from all sides, Soviet weapon, American weapon, French weapon, everything, and then you can choose what you like and try to use it. It's silly situation, really.
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you're saying. They're mix and matching, and it takes a lot more understanding to like even get these to work together, let alone how to use them properly. All right, let's stick back a little bit to the geopolitics side of things. You've sent me along some pictures. One of them is this: "You're leaving the American sector." This is based on a sign, which was at Checkpoint Charlie, which is why I'm wearing the shirt, in Berlin. And this is an initiative of some sort that you're going to tell us more about. Tell us what this is.
Yes, this is a very nice project. My colleague Patrick Poppel from Austria, he is the, how to say, he is the creator of this project. He is the designer, or it is his project, and we are supporting very much this project. We can see the pictures from the conference Lead the American Sector. It was I think last, or maybe now, maybe this year in the spring, I think in the Moscow. So we collected people from European Union who are now in the Moscow. The people from France, for example, from Belgium, from Holland, from which countries we have more, Germany. And also we invited colleagues from Russia. So we basically speak about American influence in Europe, how they like to say this very bad so-called Russian influence in the Europe or Balkans.
The Russian propaganda.
Yes, and we speak about the American influence, and it was very interesting because we have a lot of common. For example, this lady for Holland, Sonja van der Ende, speak about this. Holland is the center of these global structures with these international courts there. And she's against all this American influence, but she thinks that the people in Holland, they don't have opportunity to say if they support, if they don't support. Like this is democracy; you don't have a choice. So someone decided to put all these courts in The Hague and in the Holland, and so you don't have a choice. This is someone's decision. And also the Patrick from Austria speak about the American influence in Austria. Also the colleagues from Germany, they have a lot of military bases in the Germany. Germany is literally occupied from the end of the Second World War. And
conspiracy theories and Russian propaganda, I tell you, they're free in Germany. Look, can't you tell? This is what it used to look like, and now they're free.
Yes, you're right. I think that Rammstein is just a famous club.
Band, yeah, it's a band. It's a band. Rammstein is a band, and
yes,
the Nord Stream
and
the Nord Stream pipeline.
Not probably military base, but some disco club, I think.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with the military, yeah. And the Nord Stream is good for, like, the accident that happened with Nord Stream is good for Germany. It can be independent now.
Of course. They don't have any more problems with a very cheap gas and so on. So this is good for the people in Germany, I think.
Yeah, but they probably don't have any more need to make any factories or cars or stuff like that. So yeah, everybody wins, especially the Americans. So yeah, leaving the American sector. That sounds like a very interesting project. Maybe you can connect me with some of the other people on that panel, and then we can have them on here as well.
For sure, yes.
Let's see. What do I have here? Let's do this. How do you feel about the fact that there are no Nazis in Ukraine? Because there are no Nazis in Ukraine. We all know that there are no Nazis in Ukraine, and this is proof. Like, and this can only happen in Ukraine. I think that's one of their leader guys. How do you feel about the narrative that Putin is crazy and that, like, denazification is a myth and, like, all these things that are often in the media? Having been there, I mean, and having actually seen what goes on.
Uh, yes, this is just Russian propaganda. So we can say that before before this special military operation, the Western medias as well said that there is this neo-Nazism in the Ukraine, so we
You're
can
imagining things. No,
trust.
no, that's no.
Oh, this is something.
We've
Yes.
discussed it. We've discussed it here. It's time traveling Russian propaganda. The Russians went back in time, edited the the Western
Oh,
articles.
great! I didn't know they have this kind of opportunities, but I think it's good. They can try to change something about anti-Serbian propaganda from 90s, for example. I think I can send the letter to Mr. Putin that he can try.
No, but you mentioned anti-Serbian propaganda, and like since the SMO started, all the Russians are like, oh no, the West is so racist. They hate us all. They're like fascists, and all the Serbs are just like, hello. Where have you been for the last 30 years?
30 years,
Um,
yes.
how do you feel about the fact that like the same tactics and the same narratives and the same, like, for example, the whole butcher of Bucha thing.
Yeah.
It's like a repeat of Srebrenica and like infinite other examples, both in Yugoslavia, in Libya, in Syria. How do you feel about the fact that, like, you've been around and I'm sure you remember all of these details?
Yes,
When do
for
you
sure.
think when do you think Putin is going to start using Viagra as his for his troops, like Gaddafi and Milosevic?
Yes, this is really now after 30 or 40 years. I don't know if we should laugh or cry because it's really crazy that they are using the same propaganda already 3 or 4 decades. So, yes, when I saw this in the Bucha, and I wrote the article, the Bucha is new Rachak, because it's totally the same situation like in Rachak. So I published this article in some American medias, and after this, I find out that Zelensky put me on the blacklist with 71 more people from. It is Tulsi Gabbard, Marine Le Pen, and Jeffrey Sachs, and a lot of famous people on this blacklist. So this is like. It's not some kind of problem to be on the blacklist. It's something good. It's not the same pattern that Nazis used, blacklists and so on. No, this is some kind of black democracy list, I
It's a
think we
good
can call
list.
it.
It's a good
Yes.
list. It's a good list. I don't know if you know if you had the chance the other day on my Telegram feed an interview with Alina Lip. I'm sure you've heard of her, and some ZDF reporter, and they're talking about Donbass, and the ZDF reporter, like German state TV, refers to the residents of Donbass as Untermensch, and not once but twice. Um, so they're obviously not people, like Slavs in general. Us, we're not people. We should like be more
Yes.
German.
Yes. No, this is, I think, the Yugoslavia was a practicing field for this what happened after for Russia. So they totally use the same methods, the same propaganda, the same special operations. But yes, as you said, they use it in the Middle East as well, in Libya and Syria and in many places. So I think the now it's really well known what they are doing after 3 or 4 decades. The same using the same methods. I think the people started to understand. But you know what I find out that. a lot of people in Europe, a lot of people still don't understand. It is, I don't know how to explain, but for example, people from some other countries, they very well know, from African countries, from I don't know, Latin America. Yes, the Latin America is interesting. For example, the people from Brazil, when I speak with them, they fully understand. This is probably that they have also a lot of problems with United States, and probably the people in Europe, I mean in the Western Europe, they were protected by US, so they still really don't understand it. It is funny because now the whole world understand what is US policy and what they are doing already 3 or 4 decades. But the people in Europe, they still have some their own vision, which no one can understand. I mean, we understand that they don't understand anything. In most cases, of course, they are the people who
Exceptions, yeah.
understand, but they are now the refugees in Moscow, because when we collected these people from Europe, from different countries, like Alina Lip is also in, I know her in personally, she's also in Russia, and she cannot go back to Germany because it's forbidden for her. They blocked the bank account. They also blocked the bank account of her father, as I know, and they start this how to say, in the court, they started some
A case
process,
against her, like a
a
procedure, yeah.
case against her, and as she told me, they sent a letter that she cannot go there and to be there in the court because this is disturbing for the people there, or something like that.
Yeah,
Disturbing.
it's democracy.
So
It's democracy.
yes, so yes, this is really crazy. We are going more and in more crazy situations, but I think this is good because now the people even can understand better, because in the past, when you say something, someone will say this is conspiracy theory, but we don't have any conspiracy theory, it's only practice. So
Yeah, the conspiracy theories are just future news. That's what it
yes.
is. Okay, Dragana, we've got one last meme, the European family. This is what the European family looks like for Ukraine, I believe. Is there anything that you'd like to highlight before we sign off for this first part of this talk?
I will say that I have a lot of cooperators from Center for Geostrategic Studies in different European countries. They are the people which understand really what is going on, and they are trying to fight against this system. But of course, they are in a very difficult position there, and we just said about. Alina Lip, but there are also a lot of other people who have a lot of problem, blackmail by using that they will lose the job if they publish something or say something. So what we can say, like a conclusion, that censorship in Europe and in US as well, it's not my conclusion. I will quote the Chomsky. He said that censorship in the US now it's worse than in the communist Soviet Union. So I totally agree with this, and this is not only in US, in the European Union, it's the same situation. And European Union, if self-isolating their union, they're outside of these very important processes which are forming in this new multipolar world. and this is not good for Europe at all. But I think this is necessary because in the other way they cannot understand really. Maybe when they start to suffer, like other people already suffer from this U.S. policy, maybe they will understand then.
You mentioned how there's censorship in the news and like reporters are told what to do. And we heard from Lavrov himself that diplomats are told what to do in the UN and like being blackmailed. So like the fact that reporters are being blackmailed doesn't surprise me at all, unfortunately. All right, everyone, thank you for sticking around. Dragana, thank you for coming by. You
Thank
can
you
now
very
buy
much.
me a coffee. Everyone, let me play some music. And we will be back very soon.